Hey everybody, it's Tim again, and today, instead of cool movie toys, I'm going with cool music toys. Again, did it with Elton John. You can see him sitting there in the background by his grand piano. But again, I can concentrate on movies, but when cool figures come out from one of my favorite rock and roll bands of all time, AC/DC, I got to go for it. Of course, NECA has been so great of bringing out rock figures over the years. Of course, they did Freddie Mercury before, John Lennon in his solo years. Most recently, again, Elton John. And actually, in 2007, they released a two-pack of Angus Young and Brian Johnson of AC/DC. So this is really, it was quite an unexpected surprise. I'm so happy that they did it. They're honoring Bon Scott. The interesting thing about the Bon Scott figure, if you're going to take a look at this really quickly up close, is this actually doesn't have any sort of AC/DC branding at all. It is all simply Bon Scott. This is probably, again, from the Highway to Hell era for AC/DC, but they did release this at the same time. And of course, Bon Scott, we lost him in 1980 prior to AC/DC. And the amazing thing is, Bon was with AC/DC until his untimely death in 1980. He was only with the band for 6 years. But what an incredible thing that he accomplished in those 6 years with Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, Highway to Hell, TNT. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Prior to that, of course, he was the lead singer and a drummer for the Spectres. He was with the Valentines and the Fraternity. But clearly he made his mark with AC/DC. So again, it's not by accident that these two figures came out at about the same time. Again, I am guessing that this is 1970, certainly looks like 1978 era Bon Scott when Highway to Hell came out. So what I'm going to do is take out each of these figures on out of their packages and show you a 360 look. Before I do that, though, let's take a quick look at the Angus Young packaging. Of course, he's got the Highway to Hell, the hat with the horns, and no hat as well with his eyes closed. This is just looks terrific, even in the package. I'm the sort of person to take these things out and display them, to pose them with all sorts of kick-ass poses. So this is going to be really cool, posing these two figures together. So take a quick pause, and next time I see you, it's going to be with the figures out of the package. Okay, I'm back with a look at Bon Scott, the 8-inch tall retro style figure from NECA, and I have to thank NECA for providing this sample. They've been terrific about doing that. Did so with the Elton John figure. They did this with the Bon Scott and the Angus Young figures as well. And out of the package, this thing looks terrific. All right, it's got real cloth costume here. I wouldn't doubt that it's real denim that he's wearing. They got the, Bond's tattoos. They have the microphone. Really not a lot, not a need really for a lot of extras here, okay? Because basically they're portraying Bond, as Bond the singer. So no extra hands or anything like that, but that's cool. But what they do have is an extra head sculpt where he's singing. But let's give this a 360 look so you can get a peek at the Bon Scott figure all the way around from front to back. And I have the extra head sculpt there on the turntable. And while it's turning around, I'll just give you a quick look at that up front. Okay, that's definitely Bond there, man. That's some great stuff. So once we get spun around here, I'm going to take him off the stand and see what he looks like with the other head sculpt. Okay, he should pop off relatively easily. And there it is. And we can pop this one on. Nice part about NECA is they test all this stuff out ahead of time to make sure that, comes off relatively easily and that the joints don't break or anything like that. Because, you don't want to be disappointed with this figure coming out of the package. So there he is with his microphone as well. Look, it's an awesome figure. I love music figures. You just don't get them that often, and I don't know why. We were very lucky again to get this vintage era Elton John figure from NECA recently, and now lucky enough to get Bon Scott as well. As far as posability goes, then look, I have this on a stand so he doesn't fall over. He can stand on his own, but you got a lot of joints here, a lot of room, a lot of articulation. Okay, and hip swivels there. You can turn his head, like so. And over here, you get the microphone. And I've placed him back on the stand there. And I'm going to we did the quick head switch already, but I'm tell you what, I'm just going to throw this one a little closer at you to make sure you can see it. And if we can get him in focus there. There we go. Yeah, that looks beautiful, man. Great sculpting. They do terrific work at NECA as usual. Again, I am just loving the fact that these guys are doing a lot more of the music figures, especially of the classic rockers. With any luck, now that we got Bon, we're going to get Brian Johnson in 8-inch vintage action figure form, as well as Malcolm Young, too. I mean, look, man, bring the whole band on. That's what I'd love to see. Let's take another pause, and then we're going to have Angus Young out of the package. Okay, here's a look at Angus Young out of the package. Again, thank you to NECA for providing me with these samples so I can review them for you. And out of the package, this one is just as awesome as the Bon Scott figure there in the background. Of course, eventually I'm going to have both of them together on the same stage. Ronald Bedford Scott, a.k.a. Bon Scott, as well as Angus Young, pictured here in his classic stage outfit. And again, in the theme of Highway to Hell, this era, you notice that his beanie does have the horns, which I absolutely love. That's a great touch. Down here, we have his alternate portrait, all right, where he's just jamming out. He's got his eyes shut, right? Okay, let's get a little better. See if we can get a little better focus there. And he has a beanie for this as well. I think it's probably better suited for the other one, but it does, I would imagine, work if you just have to work with it. Angus had some really curly hair back in the day. Okay, so there you go. I'll fit it on the other one here shortly. There we go. So let's give this a 360 look. Again, I have this on a stand just so he doesn't fall over. Just taking precautions. These figures generally are very solid. They don't need to be posed on a stand. But again, for the purposes of this, I don't want to run into a situation where Angus is falling down here. So let's stand him up a little bit better. Okay. And here he comes around. As you can see, NECA got really authentic with everything. With his guitar, obviously, I'll hold this up closer, but you can see that he's actually holding a guitar pick, which is perfect. Again, I love this beanie. It is removable, and you can put this one on as well. Of course, he's wearing the beanie with the horns on the Highway to Hell album cover, so that was a must to include. And I'm just loving it. It's rock and roll, baby. What else do you need? So again, with any luck, NECA's going to secure the rights to release more of these figures again. Hopefully Brian Johnson will be next, but we'll find out. But I'm really impressed with what they have here. Again, this is a close-up of the figure. There we go. Perfect. As far as focus is concerned, you can turn this to the right. I'm going to remove his hat. Okay, turn it to the left. Okay, all the points of articulation, the elbows, the hand sculpts are perfect for this because he can hold the guitar, the frets, and again, his legs, obviously you can see the knee joints there, detailing with his tennis shoes. And if I don't know how close I can get to this, but you can clearly see that he has guitar pick in his hand right there. right there. So they're really paying attention to detail. Now, what's great is they did come with an extra set of hands with this particular figure, which you can plug in right here. And so he can point to the crowd saying, hey, man, thanks for jamming with us. All right. Let me get that Highway to Hell beanie back on because that looks so flippin' cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's great, man. So, yeah, I love these figures. I especially love the fact that both of these came out together. Let him spin around again, and I'm going to put on the other portrait so you can see what he looks like with his, without, I guess, the head sculpt didn't really, it wasn't meant to wear the beanie. I think that's why I was having problems before. So I'm going to stop this, take off the hat, take off that, came off relatively easily. And I'm going to pop this one back on. And Angus is jamming out here, baby. There you go. And let's give you a 360 look again. Spin it the other way. And just to note, this does also come with an extra pointy finger. Again, the hands, it's relatively easy to take them out and put them in. It looks like, don't want his pants to come down, of course. Take care of that. But, there's a wide flexibility as far as posing this figure. So what I'm going to do is pause again and come back with Bond and Angus on the same stage. And here is one final look at these figures. Again, thank you to NECA for providing these to me for review. We have the Highway to Hell, Angus Young. We have Bon Scott, again, branded as Bon Scott. No AC/DC mentioned at all on the packaging. And I would imagine, again, that has something to do with the licensing rights. Since I have both of them here, I'm just give you another look at both. I think these are my favorite portraits out of the other one. They gave us two, extra ones. They gave us the smiling Bon here. And they gave us the Jammin', I guess that'd be the best way to describe it, the Jammin' Angus here, right? I think that the ones that I have them with are the ones I'm going to pose them with as well. You have the Highway to Hell beanie. I probably prefer that one to this standard one, but hey, it still looks really, really cool. So, when you pair these figures with something like Elton John in the background, it's a rock and roll heaven sort of thing with Bond no longer with us. But man, what a sight that would have been to have AC/DC and Elton John on the same stage at the same time in the mid to late 70s. Would have been really, really cool. So again, I'm thrilled with these figures. I know there are a lot of AC/DC fans out there. They love Bond. They love Brian Johnson. Obviously, they love Angus. So I would highly recommend purchasing this set. They run about $34.99 a piece. If you buy them. Mainly, I've seen them online, really haven't seen them in brick and mortar stores. I've seen them in more like comic shops, record shops, obviously, would be a good place to look for these if you don't want to purchase them online. But if you think they're impressive looking at these on video, wait till you see them in person. You're just going to fall in love with them. I know I did. And again, I'm just loving the fact that we're getting more classic musicians, and let's hope that NECA goes for more of these. My name is Tim Lammers. Please subscribe to my channel if you like cool music toys. If you love cool movie toys, hit the subscribe button in the lower right corner. Tell all your friends, share this video. Subscribe to my channel again, please. I'd love to bring more of this stuff to you. I love action figures, movie action figures, but music action figures. That's what I started out with as a kid. I was a rock and roller first before I started seeing movies. So this stuff is really close to my heart, and I really love it. Thanks again. Happy toy hunting, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and we'll talk again soon.